Hey, everybody, we still have some people coming in, so we're going to give it another minute or so. You have a little bit of time to grab your favorite beverage or snack if you'd like. Get comfortable, and we'll get started here in a little bit. Hey, everybody, we'll get started shortly. Thank you all. All right, we'll go ahead and get started if that's all right, everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your day. I know, IT is a big industry, and there is a lot of competition for your time. So we appreciate you trusting us with this hour of your day. We hope we have a topic that you find particularly exciting, or maybe even hopefully a bit educational. So today we're actually going to talk a little bit around the latest Cisco integrations within the Splunk platform. Okay, now while this isn't all parts of the Cisco portfolio, it is quite a few of the ones that we've seen a bit of work around. So if we miss a topic that you'd like to see, please let us know. We'll have a poll where we'd love to hear back from you to get some feedback on what you'd like to see next from us, or areas we can even meet and chat with you all as well. And I hope that sounds good. Please feel free to use the Q&A. We'll have a session as well. And yeah, we can try and make this as interactive as possible, considering the platform we're on. Now, you're probably wondering who you have to listen to today. So let me introduce myself. My name is Kyle Prinz. I'm a principal technical marketing engineer here at Splunk. I've been with Splunk for about 4 years now, but been within the Splunk ecosystem for about 10. I have my first Confiddy was, I believe, a 2016 Confiddy that still is in my closet. It's a relic now. Might be even be able to get some money on eBay for it. We'll see. We'll see how that trends. My history: I have a passion for IT monitoring, and I started my career in IT as a storage administrator. And I'll pass it over to Chris.
My name is Chris Dobert. I'm not getting rid of my .conf 2016 hoodie. That thing fits me like a hug. That's maybe the best fitting one, the
Oh,
best fitting year.
I'm not saying I'm getting
I
rid of it. It's just a good retirement plan. It's
Yeah, right.
a backup plan. Yeah.
So I am a principal dishwasher at Splunk. I've also been using Splunk for going on 10 years now. I was a Splunk practice lead at a customer and then a Splunk partner. And now I have been a Splunk employee, also going on about 4 years now. So I have the Gordie Howe hat trick of Splunk, going from customer to partner and then employee. So no offense to any of our Manitoban friends, but I hope the Blues win tonight.
We'll have to keep track of that. And I live in Nashville, so I'm a Predators fan. So, well, we're just a little sad right now in general, and that's okay. Today's agenda, just so you have a little bit of an idea of what you've buckled yourself into for the next hour. We're going to give you a current view of our offerings that we have. And remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg of what Cisco and Splunk have been working on together. There are many, many, many products and parts of the complete Cisco portfolio. So we want to be mindful that these are not the only areas that are being innovated and worked on, but just a few areas that we decided to go ahead and talk to you all about after some of our selection process and some of the customers that we've been talking with. However, if we miss a product that you care about, that you want to see, that you have an opinion on, please message us, Q&A us. We are happy to go ahead and take notes, and then hopefully our friends who allow us to do these types of presentations will allow us to come back and touch on those topics that we miss out today, okay? So we're going to go over a little bit of Splunk, a lot of Cisco, and then we're also going to talk a bit around, since we both let the cat out of the bag, that we're pretty excited about IT monitoring. We're going to talk about the integrations of what we're going over and how it integrates with Splunk ITSI. And if you're not familiar with what ITSI is or Splunk is, don't worry. We're going to give a bit of a refresher as well. And then we're going to go over a particular use case that we have had a lot of fun with in an environment, and we hope you all enjoy it too. So let's get to the fun part. Quick Splunk overview.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Splunk. That's the thing that I'm employed to do, and I love doing it. So yeah, before we go into Cisco integrations, let's back up. Let's talk about Splunk in general. So devices and applications generate a lot of data, and they have a lot of ways to generate that data. And Splunk can collect that data that's generated in a number of ways. Between the technical add-ons that we have that we're going to talk about in a little bit, between the universal forwarder that you're probably familiar with, or OpenTelemetry, and then API endpoints like the Splunk HTTP event collector, which you may know as HEC. The result of all of that, feeding all that syslog data, all that SNMP data, all the application data, gives you a single unified view out of the box with the Splunk platform. So we're able to give you insights into your applications, devices, and your networks all in one place. The ability to handle the problems that arise from those faster, being able to resolve those faster. And then our AI assistants can kind of give you greater depth and ease of use within all of that. Now, IT service intelligence, which is near and dear to my heart, which is what I cut my Splunk teeth on, is to observability what ES is to security. So it can take all of the data that you have in Splunk and manage it in a way that makes the most sense for you and your organization. So rather than, for instance, your service desk getting 100 alerts for a server going down, ITSI is able to intelligently correlate those and work bidirectionally with your ticketing system like ServiceNow or Remedy to reduce alert noise and fatigue. So you're only getting really one instead of 100 and having to close relate all of those. That's what I did before I was the Splunk practice lead. So I know that pain. I'm very familiar with that pain. ITSI cuts down on a lot of that. And you also don't necessarily care that a server went down. You care that part of your payment service cluster is now degraded. So ITSI can logically group not just your servers, but also things like your VMware data stores or Microsoft SharePoint sites into what we call entities that feed services and have KPIs attached to them. And the health of those KPIs can be modeled into predictive analytics. So that can turn your stance from reactive to proactive and let you know in advance that the payment service might be having an issue soon, rather than you finding out from the screams down the hallway. So what does that mean for network service health in particular? It's taking all of that data that you're normally having to go to Thousand Eyes, the Meraki dashboard, Catalyst Center, all of those, bringing all of that into one place. And it also takes non-Cisco devices and monitoring from places like SolarWinds and aggregates that into the same place, allowing for that agnostic, unified monitoring that we've been talking about. So using ITSI on top of all of that means that we can group these devices that we're talking about in with those business services and look at our network health as part of our overall business health instead of that traditional networked silo. And then when something happens, everybody's pointing fingers at each other going, it's DNS, it's not DNS. And now with integrations with products like AppDynamics and Thousand Eyes, we can give you visibility into not just your on-prem data center, but also drill down into that branch or that store level, as well as into your cloud and microservices application in things like AWS or GCP or Azure. And now we have a poll. So we want to know, which Cisco products are you ingesting into Splunk today? And we'll give a couple seconds for some submissions here.
One thing to call out, we were limited on the number of responses that we can provide. So if we're missing something like Nexus or ACI, please, yeah, feel free to drop that in the Q&A. We'd love to collect that data and understand what you all are working on during your day job.
Yeah, this is, we want to make stuff that people care about. So this kind of information for us is very valuable. We'll give this valuable information a couple more seconds here.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep. And that's I didn't realize we couldn't do that with On24. My apologies. Can only select one option. Sorry about that, y'all. How about this then? If you can only select one, what is the one that you are most particularly fond of?
Mm-hmm.
Or most interested in, I guess would be.
All right. Yeah. A lot of love for Catalyst, which is great because we're going to talk all about it. Yeah, a lot of love for Meraki too. Meraki Thousand Eyes.
Yeah.
WebEx is the interesting one. We have some WebEx integration that we'll talk about later with the Cisco store. Maybe gin up some interest in that. No, this is great information for us to have. Thank you. Now, speaking of Meraki, I'm going to turn it over to Kyle to talk a little bit about the integrations that we've done in Meraki so far.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and talk through Meraki. And just looking through some of the chat, I'm seeing Nexus pop up a lot too. Unfortunately, we don't have Nexus covered today, just given the amount and the vastness of the portfolio that we have. However, I am taking this as a note, as we have some work to do to go give a Splunk hug over to the Nexus family within Cisco. So we will do that. Now, let's focus on another part of the Cisco family, Meraki. If I'm assuming everybody's pretty familiar with Meraki. If you're coming from the Splunk side of the house and you know how to spell Meraki, quick overview. Meraki is a provider and a product line that has smart IoT buttons, switches, routers, firewalls, as well as access points and cameras as well. It is cloud managed as well. So you log into a cloud portal and you can go ahead and push configurations to your network stack through a web UI. We work with it, particularly in the Cisco store is where we've seen a lot of it. So we've been able to go over there and kind of work through that as well. Now, organically too, we started to work with the Meraki team that was building the Cisco Meraki add-on for Splunk. Now, where this got cool is it was built by the Meraki API team led by Corey Gwynn. So thank you, Corey, for all your help and insights and listening to our inputs back and forth in this collaborative effort to release this. Now, if you've played with the Meraki app, but not recently, it went through a major change in February, actually when we were at Cisco Live EMEA. And while we were showcasing demos using the old Meraki add-on, this new one we were so excited about. Unfortunately, we didn't get to showcase it at Cisco Live EMEA because we've learned you don't push prod code without testing. So we wanted to wait until Cisco Live was over. But we've been able to push it, play with it, and it is very, very good. The old Meraki add-on only had 7 different inputs to categorize your data in and pull from. So we were really missing a major part of the Meraki picture. And this new add-on is pulling 30 different inputs via APIs against Meraki's cloud, and it's all SIM compliant, so common information model. So we can go ahead and make that a bit easier to run your searches, or if you have a mixed environment, you can go ahead and use a common information model within Splunk to be able to write queries that aren't necessarily curtailed to one specific manufacturer, which can make your SPL searching just that much more powerful. You can also set the polling intervals on your different inputs. So we're even pulling in, if you've got Hawkeyes, you can see that we're pulling in licensing data. But let's say you maybe don't need every 15-second updates of licensing data. Well, you can move that down to sample maybe once a day, or some of your performance data, if you want to pull that in a bit more granular, you can change that as well. It is downloadable via Splunk Base. If you're part of the Cisco family, new to Splunk, Splunk Base is the app store where you can get a lot of the data ingestion and visualizations that power Splunk in an easy to consume format. And it's called Splunk Base. You can go to splunkbase.splunk.com and actually search for Cisco Meraki, and you'll be able to pull up this app and install it. You can install it a couple different ways. One, you can install the TGZ and untar it and install it via CLI. Or if you prefer a GUI, you can actually log into your Splunk environment and do manage apps, find more apps, type in Cisco Meraki, click install, and you're ready to rock and roll. So what does this look like? Well, not only does the add-on have ways to get data in, it's also added in some dashboards as well, which is a little unique. So we've got 29 pre-built dashboards built by the Meraki API team. And what I like about this is that the Meraki team has intimate knowledge of what is important for Meraki customers, what they would want to visualize. So they've given you kind of a starting block for Meraki data. And what's really great about Splunk dashboards is you can hover over any of these dashboards and a little magnifying glass will pop up. You can click on that and you'll get the underlying search which built that dashboard. Now, you know the saying, good artists create, great artists steal. We want to encourage you to do that. Go ahead and pull that search out and you can populate it into your own dashboard that you're building. We also have Dashboard Studio, which has made a lot of movement in the past year, which is making dashboards a lot easier for you to build and troubleshoot and consume. So we feel like we've got a really good way for you to get started with Meraki on your own ways to not only make useful dashboards, but also visually appealing dashboards. Because who doesn't love a beautiful dashboard, right, Chris? It's a thing. Now, while we have visualizations, we're getting data in, We are also working on something called a Meraki Content Pack, which is unique integrations with ITSI. And this is where I'm going to push pause on myself and let Chris take over, as he has a bit of intimate knowledge about this.
I do. And I love a good dashboard so much that I did an entire .conf talk about it, about what makes a good dashboard. So we've talked a little bit about technical add-ons, and you can think of content packs as add-ons for ITSI specifically. This was the first content pack around a Cisco product, and I had helped develop this for the Cisco store effort at GSX, and went, hey, this should be repeatable. This should be something all of our customers have. So shout out to Top and Shaw on our product team for taking what I built for Cisco Store and kind of running with it and packaging it in a way that now you can enjoy. So what this gives you is a pre-built turnkey way to start integrating your Meraki devices into those business services that we talked about. So it gives you that template to follow for when you're bringing in, your environmental sensors or your cameras or your access points. It allows you to integrate those in an intelligent way into the business services that you have already, and pre-builds those KPIs that are necessary. And we're going to see a lot of those later on when we start digging into the Cisco store. So that's now included in the Splunk app for content packs on Splunk base. And you can enable that in the data integrations within ITSI. So that'll give you, again, those pre-built ways to start bringing in that Meraki data into ITSI. Now let's pivot from one well-used tool to another, and we'll go from the Meraki dashboard to the Catalyst Center integrations that we have. So if you've seen Men in Black, we have the old way and the new way of doing things. The old way was Splunk Connect for SNMP. It worked well enough for how long we used it for. And that's traditionally how we've interfaced with Cisco devices, is setting up something in the middle there to kind of grab all that polling data, all that syslog data, and kind of send it on. The new hotness, though, now that we're one big happy company, is the Catalyst add-on with the Enterprise Networks app. So this will give you that same unified visibility that we achieved with the Meraki integration, but also with actionable insights that can be fed to an orchestration and automation platform or contextualized with other Cisco and non-Cisco devices. Now there's no more swivel chairing. There's no more bouncing between different Cisco apps to know what's going on with your Cisco devices. And we can kind of see some examples of those built-in dashboards within the Enterprise Network app. So we have data feeding from SD-WAN and ISE into an overall dashboard, kind of giving you a threat posture, giving you that landscape view, and being able to see a lot of this data at a glance correlated with other data. And again, this is a starting point for you. You can take any of these panels and kind of play with them, make them into your own dashboards. We get network insights showing you all of your different devices connected to the network, what kinds of issues they're having with the breakdown of those. You can also click into any of these panels, any of the rows that are on this table, and see the events that correlate with those, either pie slices or the tables, and get that even more granular breakdown that you might want. And then we can click over to get security insights on those same devices, showing the inventory and health scores at a glance with a breakdown of each. So really giving you a lot of data, and then allowing you to take these panels like Kyle was talking about earlier and kind of make them your own. You can blow them out, see the actual events themselves. You can add those to separate dashboards. we can pop over to the Security Insights tab, showing us our security posture and sort of compliance data. And again, with that same kind of drill down, this is giving you a lot of information. This is giving you a lot of data. This is the starting point for the Enterprise Networks app. What we want you to do with these kinds of apps is make them your own. And that's very easy to do both with the classic dashboards and with Dashboard Studio, to take one of these panels and add it into your own dashboard. And really, from all these different dashboards that we're seeing now, you can kind of collate them into one and get that unified view that you're really looking for your specific organization. And then finally, we can see firewall activity in particular from this view too, allowing us to kind of break down what they're doing and why they're doing it. So again, a lot of information from this Enterprise Network app that's really taking into account a lot of the data sources that we've been talking about that feed into Catalyst in particular, the omnibus Catalyst. So I know I talked a lot. Catalyst is a big product, so let's summarize here. A new integration that gives you the ability to contextualize what Catalyst Center, SD-WAN, CyberVision, and ISE all tell you, all in one place. And because it's all in one place, you can manage access to that data from just one place too, because Splunk has robust data security controls and can integrate with your existing authentication provider. So you're not having to manage all these different applications and all of the access therein. You can manage it from one, you can manage one application from one place. And because we believe so strongly in breaking down all of these silos that we're talking about, the data that you ingest can be used across teams and multiply that value. So now what I'm going to do is toss it to Kyle to talk a little bit about Thousand Eyes.
Hey, thank you very much. Hey, and we are seeing some Q&A questions come in. Please keep them coming. We have a Q&A section at the end, so we see them. If you're going, well, why aren't they answering anything? We've got a time for them too. So we'll be sure to make sure we get them answered. Cool. Okay. Thousand Eyes. I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with Thousand Eyes, but basically the pretense is that everything is getting connected to networks. Everything is getting connected to cloud. We all want it to talk to each other. And it should be as simple as having a device go shake hands with another device and be done. However, we all know as IT practitioners, it's not that simple. There's a lot of intermediary layers and security controls in place that can make it from one device talking to another a little difficult. Well, where this gets really interesting is that Thousand Eyes is able to provide a holistic view at the network layer to help you understand where the different gaps or potential problems within your connection could be. So think of it very similar. This is a really slick product that they have. It's actually on their website. It's called the Internet Weather Map, but it literally is showing outages and where those outages are happening and what is affecting those outages. So if you're ever going, well, why is my service acting up? You can literally go to thousandeyes.com and go check this out, which has been both super helpful and also really interesting as a consumer and of the internet, and as someone who requires the internet to do their day job, as well as have a family and keep them happy so they can be streaming. This has been very nice to be able to have some checks against whether or not it's working. Now, Thousand Eyes provides end-to-end visibility across every domain from a network layer. Now, we at Splunk love that. And you would go, well, why aren't, that kind of feels like a competition, doesn't it? No, not at all. Thousand Eyes does very well at a network layer, crossing across your network traffic across many layers. Where we see Splunk fitting in with that is such a great granular piece of data to feed into Splunk and then start to correlate it with other data sources. Chris talked earlier around VMware, some Cisco products. Maybe you have a mixed environment of non-Cisco products that you still need a central repository to ingest and store and visualize and search that data. Splunk is still fully invested and interested in supporting your heterogeneous environment of mixed vendors. We are still going to be a monitor of monitors and an ingestment, a data platform for your entire enterprise across the board. Okay, so this is where we see ThousandEyes can get to be particularly interesting for us, is when we can start to aggregate that data together and then start to tell a holistic view, ideally with ITSI, because we think it's just so easy to be able to turn your environment into services, but you can also build dashboards with data from multiple sources and build a service view using the built-in dashboarding tools that come with your Splunk Enterprise or Splunk Cloud license. So however you want to consume, handle, or build, you are welcome to do. And we are here to help you along the way. Now, we kind of missed one little point, though, about the ThousandEyes integration, which was, how does it integrate exactly? And I tried to figure out how we display this, but it got really wordy. So I thought, let's just take a moment and we'll talk through these couple different ways, because just like the Cisco integration is evolving and moving, these are evolving and moving as well. The first way to do it, and if you go dig on Google and find it, is the OTel integration. And if you're not familiar with what OTel is, it's open telemetry. It's an open source project where you can kind of have an open source aggregator of data to be able to monitor your environment. It's very popular in the DevOps world. It is also owned by the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, and Splunk and Cisco, as well as many other companies, have a lot of contributors, maintainers, and owners towards that. So if you are a practitioner or a user of OpenTelemetry or OTel, you can actually log into the ThousandEyes web UI and send that data to OTel, which then OTel can go ahead and export that data to Splunk Enterprise, Splunk Cloud, Splunk Observability Cloud. Now, if OTel is still kind of something you're looking at, not exactly interested in, or it's just not your cup of tea yet, we have two other ways to be able to do that. To me, the most fully integrated out of the box, click through, easy to do way is actually going back to Splunk Base. Starting to sound like a broken record, aren't we, with Splunk Base? But Splunk Base has a free download. The add-on for ThousandEyes, I believe, is what it is. And I apologize, the name is escaping me. We will get that to you. But ThousandEyes has an add-on. It's a little blue icon of the ThousandEyes logo made by Cisco and Splunk. And you can actually download that onto your Splunk Cloud or Splunk Enterprise box. And then you'll push link to ThousandEyes, and you'll put in your credentials for ThousandEyes, and it will actually create an HTTP event collector token on your Splunk environment and start to send ThousandEyes data into that. And to our point earlier with Meraki and Catalyst, the apps and add-ons there, where you have out-of-the-box dashboards, you will actually have that as well with your ThousandEyes app and add-on. So again, if you're going, well, I get the data in, but I still need a starting point for my visualizations, these apps and add-ons will help you with that. Now, if you don't want to have a whole bunch of apps and add-ons, but you really just want to get the data in, ThousandEyes interface in the data integrations point, you can actually do native HTTP event collector into Splunk without installing or upgrading the ThousandEyes app and add-on. So you have a few different ways, whether you wanted to go the fully open source DevOps route, or whether you would like to have the free app and add-on, you can do that. Or if you just need the connection to get the data in, you can do that as well. So if you have some questions around that, some concerns, you want to talk through that, we're happy to meet with you and talk through that, or you can chat with your account team as well, and they can get ThousandEyes and Splunk in the room and help have that conversation as to what's best for you, both from a Splunk perspective and a ThousandEyes perspective as well. Cool. Okay, so we're about half past the hour, and we've been talking a lot. The next little bit are mentions that we want to have, but we don't have a whole lot of content around it. So if we go a little too fast over these, please drop something in the Q&A, give us some feedback, and we will get some information in for you. We would be remiss if we did not at least talk about UCS. I used to work for VCE, which was a joint venture between VMware, Cisco, and EMC. So I have a soft spot in my heart for UCS. Absolutely love it. The UCS add-on, just some quick data points. It's pulling via UCS Manager API. It's Common Information Model compliant. Customizable polling interval, very similar to Meraki. where you can pull in and go ahead and sample how often you want to pull in that data. And then if you actually come by the NOC, the Network Operations Center at Cisco Live, you can talk with us and get some feedback from us on how we're deploying it there. If you're not familiar with what the NOC is at Cisco Live, if you go to Cisco Live, we have a live Network Operations Center there. We actually bring in a full shipping container, and we will be monitoring the network health of the environment as it is supporting Cisco Live, which is, I think, pretty cool. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Might be some sleepless nights here, huh? All right, ISE. Back to you, Chris.
ISE, back to me. We talked a little about ISE earlier, so let's briefly touch on what we have going for that too. But first, let's do another poll. What Cisco product line would you most like to see integrated with Splunk? So we'll give about a minute for this. This will give us some time to catch up on Q&A too.
Yeah, I'm seeing a couple ones, a little bit of a few of the same thread, if that's all right, if we want to answer Q&A just to get these knocked out. Yeah? Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the first one I'm seeing is, will I be able to buy Splunk without having to buy a Cisco product? Yes. Yeah. We are Splunk, a Cisco company. While we love Cisco products, remember we are a data platform for your enterprise. So we are not just a Cisco monitoring tool. We are not losing that value at all. But if you are a Cisco customer, we do want to make sure that you're aware of the integrations that are happening between Cisco and Splunk to make monitoring your Cisco environment easier. So please take that as we are not decommitting from any partners that we have currently, but we are working at integrating within Cisco now that we are a Cisco company to make you, a Cisco customer's life a bit easier. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'll go ahead and check off a couple of these. Do we want to go ahead and...
Yeah, let's...
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Wow.
Data center pulling away. To no surprise.
Yeah. Well, given a lot of practitioners work in the data center, that tends to make sense. I think audience, if it's all right with you, I think we will take some of these findings back and make sure we maybe go give a hug over to Nexus and some more data center products as we provide more solutions, collateral, guides, demos, how to for you in the field.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let's talk about ISE real quick. So in that same kind of way that we've been talking about Splunk add-ons today, where it can do things like normalize that data across disparate sources, so SRC and source become commonly searchable. We do that with ISE data as well. So we make it what we call SIM compliant. We provide you those inputs to bring that data in out of the box. And because, as Kyle alluded to, we are Splunk, a Cisco company, and we are one big happy family now. A lot of these third-party apps that we had are now first-party. So we have a lot more support around a lot of these products like UCS and ISE now. We also have a connector for Splunk SOAR. Now, Splunk SOAR is our orchestration and automation product that works with Splunk. We see it a lot in the security space to kick off automated playbooks and runbooks, and ISE can do a lot of that same integration. So we've talked a lot about what you could do. Now we're going to talk about what we have done so far. And this is kind of the catalyst, pun intended, for a lot of these integrations was our work in the Cisco store. So I'm going to hand it over to Kyle to kind of give us an overview of the Cisco store and what we've done with it.
Yeah. So the Cisco store, it's always fun. It's always fun being able to work in a real environment, not just a demo lab, right? Because you can tend to tell when a demo is a demo versus when it's a real environment, and sometimes they aren't always the same. So Cisco realizes that, and what they've been able to do is actually build a real environment. So, what we have is the Cisco store. So, if you go to merchandise.cisco.com, or you go to Santana Row or RTP and actually go to one of the physical Cisco stores and buy Cisco merchandise, or if you're wearing any Cisco merchandise, that has flowed or originated from the Cisco store. Now, the Cisco store is a legitimate, real, that has employees, is a store. And on the flip side of that, it also is online stores as well. We service US, EMEA, APJ, and India. And what's really cool is that we are theater specific as well. So if you are in EMEA and you go to merchandise.cisco.com, it will send you to the EMEA store and make sure that we're dispatching product from those warehouses, not shipping it across the Atlantic, which I think is particularly neat. The last part where the Cisco store shows up is in travel stores. So they literally duplicate what is in Santana Row and RTP, and they will actually bring it on site to Cisco Lives and GSX, which is Cisco's sales kickoff, and provide a physical storefront for you to purchase Cisco merchandise. Now, while that's all great, why do we as technologists particularly find that interesting? Well, the other half of this is the Cisco Store Tech Lab. And that is where Cisco will go ahead and build an environment, a retail environment. So we use Cisco Meraki, a lot of it, as well as some Catalyst and Thousand Eyes. And we've now introduced Splunk into that, where we're starting to integrate not only with Cisco products, but non-Cisco products as well. Like one of the recent things we've been working on is getting Shopify data into Splunk. And candidly, it's been fun. I think the hardest part has been figuring out the Shopify GraphQL API endpoint, just understanding how we're doing that with a storefront that already exists. Just, again, to be completely transparent with you all. So we have Cisco products being ingested into Splunk. We have non-Cisco products being ingested into Splunk, but we're trying to provide a holistic view of a store environment so that it can relate back to your enterprise. And you can see the convergence of business data and IT data and other machine data that we can find, both from Cisco and non-Cisco sources, basically any part of your enterprise, and be able to integrate those to help see if we can tell a broader story based upon the many data points we have. So I'm going to pass it back to Chris. He's going to walk through some dashboards and show you exactly that story.
Let's see that convergence.
Oh.
We both clicked it. We're both clicking at the same time.
I'm done driving.
So if you go to Cisco Live, you're able to actually take a tour of the Cisco store through what they call the Cisco Live Tech Lab. They're showcasing all of the latest Meraki gear. They're showcasing how that Meraki gear can be used in a live retail setting. And they're showing how that Meraki gear can be integrated with other data sources like Shopify. And so you'll see on this tour, and really if you go to the Cisco store at all at Cisco Live, you'll see dashboards like these that are showing you, we say near real time, it's down to about a minute, order details directly from Shopify. And so we're able to give those insights in near real time based on, third-party integrations. I wrote a 30-line Python script that pulls Shopify data into Splunk for the Cisco store integration. That's how easy this was to do. And we were able to take that data and make dashboards like this out of it. We also, at NRF this year, we had an activation where we had a coffee bar set up, and you could interact with a WebEx assistant and place a coffee order on your phone. Now, we had dashboards set up throughout our booth showing the process by which all of that data was managed and acted upon. And this is one of the acted upon dashboards, is showing, how many orders were in, how many were completed. We set up an actual real coffee bar that was powered by AI, that was powered by a chatbot, and we were able to surface a lot of insights in, again, near real time, based on all of that data that we were generating and gathering inside Splunk. So we had dashboards like these set up throughout the booth to kind of show people what was possible with a WebEx integration, and bringing that into Splunk. And we talked a little bit about the Meraki devices that they have. That was really the nexus, again, pun intended, for a lot of the work that we did, was bringing those Meraki devices in and being able to surface a lot of the data that they were generating. And they generate a whole lot of data. So we brought in their wireless access points that they use, that people can connect to in a real retail store environment kind of way. The cameras that they have set up to monitor everything that's going on, we're bringing those in. All the environmental sensors that they have around, between the door sensors, the temperature sensors, we're bringing in air quality data, which is real interesting to see at a conference. Turns out the air quality, not great at conferences. So we're able to pull a lot of those insights from that Meraki integration. And also we have Thousand Eyes watching kind of the online store. So we're able to correlate in a way that we're going to dig into in a couple slides. Is this a network issue, or is this a server issue? Is this a hardware issue? Being able to generate that kind of data and that kind of actionable insight with Thousand Eyes at a glance. This is a very, very, very basic view of what we can bring in with Thousand Eyes. We're going to see it in action in a couple slides. But all of that comes into kind of a executive view, where we can see all of the metrics that we care about from all of these different disparate sources at a glance. We're able to get those actionable insights. We're able to see, hey, is the store performing the way that we want it to? Is the shopping experience in this real retail environment what we want it to be? We're able to give those insights. We're able to bubble up all of that data in a meaningful way. And we do that with ITSI. We have both of the brick and mortar stores, as well as the traveling store that you'll see at Cisco Live this year, as well as the online stores, are all feeding their data into ITSI and surfacing those kinds of actionable KPIs. So you can see down at the bottom there at NRF, the air, not super great. We were all kind of sleepy. That kind of tells you why. But with the online stores, we're also able to kind of bring in that Thousand Eyes data. So we can make metrics and KPIs around that Thousand Eyes data, and really be able to see, is the store having are people's shopping experience good right now, or is it not good? And if it's not good, why? Being able to do that and see the root cause at a glance, instead of having to point fingers and blame DNS and go through that entire incident response that we're all very used to. ITSI cuts out all of that. We can also bring in business KPIs. So we've got our operational KPIs. We've got security KPIs that we can bring into. We've talked about bringing in security data. We've got the business KPIs too. We can build KPIs around, is the revenue what we expect it to be right now? We're bringing in that, since we're bringing in that Shopify data, we can make revenue based on that. We can make revenue KPIs based on that. So not only can we build all of this in a way that gives us actionable insight, we can automate it as well. So whenever the Cisco store team brings on a new Meraki device into any one of the stores that they have, either the brick and mortar or the traveling one, based on the network ID, the network that that device is added onto, ITSI knows exactly where to put that. And based on what kind of device it is, it knows what KPIs to attach to that. So you can take this and extrapolate it out and say, if you've got a new store and you've got a turnkey solution, you're shipping all of this gear to a new store, ITSI, you can configure it to have that spin up automatically and have those stores added without you having to add each individual device, without you having to attach all those individual KPIs. You can make ITSI manage your retail environment automatically. And then with App Dynamics and Thousand Eyes in particular, what we've been able to do is we've been able to, at that branch level or that individual store level, be able to surface what Thousand Eyes is saying about that store connectivity. So if you have tests running to all of your different stores, you can break that out intelligently with ITSI and attach that as a KPI to those individual stores. So you know if the network goes down at one store, you know why you're suddenly getting a whole bunch of alerts. Similarly, you can group an interesting thought exercise that we've had in the last week or so is being able to group AppD and Thousand Eyes events together. So when AppD says, hey, there was a slowness event, one part of this flow was super slow, and here's why, you can correlate that with the Thousand Eyes data of the test that's associated with that. So you can see what Thousand Eyes was saying about that specific area that AppD is saying was slow and say, is this a network problem or was this an application problem? You don't have to switch back and forth between those applications to make those kinds of correlations anymore. So all that being said, the next steps for you to take and resources that you're able to take with you today, if we haven't answered your questions, the first step, go to Splunkbase, splunkbase.splunk.com. That is our tried and true app repository. Like Kyle said earlier, you can either get to it from splunkbase.splunk.com or within your Splunk installations. If you go to apps, browse more apps, that's the same repository, and you can install apps within your Splunk installation from that. If you're not sure where to start, go to the collections tab on Splunkbase, and that'll give you some apps to start with and to start playing around with based on what you're kind of looking to do with Splunk. We've also got the Splunk Lantern and Splunk community sites. So Splunk Lantern is our customer success center. That is where Kyle and I will write articles on use cases like what we've talked about today, develop kind of some customer success frameworks for you to follow, and how to make sense of all of that data you're bringing in. So a lot of GDI, if you've heard that term, a lot of GDI exercises, a lot of data descriptors. That is guided by Splunk SMEs like Kyle and myself. You can find that at lantern.splunk.com. Splunk community, it is the omnibus umbrella for things like Splunk Answers and Splunk Ideas and Splunk user groups. This, as opposed to Splunk Lantern, is guided by you and other experts. We really, really encourage you to go on Splunk community. Splunk Answers is incredibly helpful. If you have any product feedback for us, you found a bug or you think this product should do this instead, use Splunk Ideas. We check Splunk Ideas all the time. That's going to be at community.splunk.com. And now I think we've got, let's look at Q&A here.
Yeah, there's two questions outstanding that we have so far, and I'm happy to take a stab at them because I think you were talking while they went up, so I have a little bit of context there, but we'll see how good I am. So the first one is, I'm assuming that the protocol is RTSP. How does that work? How critical is the RTSP? So I think this probably has to do with the Meraki cameras feeding the data in. So here's how we do it. Meraki cameras, you can actually run machine learning models on the camera themselves. And the RTSP, the video data on a Meraki camera, it typically stays on a Meraki camera unless you log in to view it, in which it will pull that data back. So here's how we do it. You can set up boundary boxes with Meraki cameras of do like a people count in this area, or if a person crosses this line. So like in the Cisco store, we've got it monitored where when people cross the lines, when the hours are closed, we get an event flag. So how does that work from a data standpoint with a data platform that typically doesn't handle video data? We have a Splunk Edge Hub installed that acts as an MQTT broker. Meraki cameras out of the box speak MQTT and will update with information about the camera itself, as well as when boundary boxes have been crossed or lines have been crossed or areas have people in them. So we are able to flag that event to MQTT to our broker in the store, that is the Edge Hub, and then that data comes up natively into a Splunk events index into our Splunk environment. Now, that's the fully Cisco branded solution. We also are working with companies like Every Angle and Cogniac, where we're actually able to deploy machine learning models on the cameras themselves and start to pull in data from that model and feed it into MQTT into Splunk. So again, we've got out of the box Meraki plus Splunk angle. We also have out of the box Meraki plus Splunk plus partner angle. So it just depends on what you're after, what level of granularity you're after. And do you want to use, out of the box models or train your own? Typically just depends, but that's how the data flows. I can take the other one too if you'd like, Chris. I know you've been talking a lot.
Up to you.
Yeah, sure. So the Palo Alto firewall logs into Splunk. How does that work with Meraki, and how do we get the data in? I believe is the core of that question. Well, Splunk Base is not just Cisco apps and add-ons. In fact, I used to work at EMC, the storage company, and I would build apps and add-ons for EMC storage arrays and submit them into Splunk Base just as a single developer at night having fun, in which you can do that too. It is community driven. It's not just a one-way street. We have companies that have built businesses on top of providing apps and add-ons into Splunk Base. So all that to say, Palo Alto has an add-on to make it easy to get their data into Splunk, as does Meraki. Now, going back to our point earlier of, well, how do we get data from disparate sources talking to each other? Well, if you install those add-ons, typically there's visualizations built in with those where you can move those together into a dashboard and then see how those items work together. Or if you're an ITSI customer, we can build service trees out of that and show how those are affecting each other into a larger service as being KPIs of that greater service. So easy to get the data in, endless possibilities of what you want to do with it. Cool.
We got 2 minutes left.
2 minutes.
We're going to talk about our friends. So
Yes.
They have an upcoming tech talk in a very similar way. It's going to be Courtney and Joseph talking about mastering data pipelines. So highly recommend joining that and talking about data management. That's a big hot button topic that we hear about with a lot of our customers. So if that appeals to you, that is going to be on Thursday, May 8th. We also have a little thing called .conf coming up September 8th through 11th in Boston. Kyle and I will be speaking. We're going to be talking about how we've done what we've done with the Cisco store. It's going to be a very actually advanced talk. We're going to go into the nuts and bolts. I talked about that Python script for Shopify. We're going to be talking about how to do stuff like that. So if you want to go to .conf and get a hoodie, again, September 8th through 11th. That's going to be at conf.splunk.com. And that's it for us. Kyle, do you want to say anything?
I just answered the last Q&A. asking about SPL. SPL's
Cool.
around. We're still using it every day.
Love SPL.
Yep. So
Cool.
thank you all very much. If you found this helpful, please let us know if there's areas that we need to focus on elsewhere, or areas that you are finding particularly interesting that you'd like to see us talk about as well. Please let us know. Thank you again very much for taking an hour out of your day and coming and joining us for this. Thank you.
Bye all.